Hey everybody, it's Tuesday, it's 5:30. I kind of have my what together today. I don't know though. I have a lot of tabs up, so hopefully this will all run uh, as smoothly as possible. So I'm gonna kind of start out by telling you I love it when you guys reach out to me. You guys send me things, funny things. You send me memes. You're expressing your concern about certain subjects or you know in the Gabby Petito case. I know somebody reached out to me today. I'm not going to use a name. If you want to own it in the chat, please do. But reached out to me and said, my husband and I were talking about how the Laundrie parents are handling the death of their son, and she was saying, I think it's really weird that they're not having a funeral. When we discussed it, we said, we just couldn't do that. We would have a private ceremony or something like that. To which, I agree. So you get that. I get links to videos that you guys want me to watch or story ideas, and I love it. And, funny little jokes. But I also get things like this. And I'm going to do a lot of screen sharing today. So I'm going to start from the end and work forward. There goes my voice. Still got residuals from that terrible bout of illness that I had. So hold on one second. I'm going to share the screen. And I'm always going to have to, apparently walk through the steps of doing so. Because you guys just, probably love to hear me doing it. So right now. So this is Jesse Diane Ryan sent me this from dictionary.com. It's the word of the day. It's revenant.
Revenant.
Revenant. A person who returns. A person who returns as a spirit after death or ghost. And Jesse Diane Ryan says, I really hope it's Tammy haunting Chad. To which I said, maybe she's the one that stole his chin. So we had a good little laugh about that one. So there's that. But I'm going to start off by sharing something that I saw on TikTok. And I'm going to add this to the stream right now. So this TikToker is clearing up some rumors, and I think this is important. There's a lot of chat out there about the skeletal remains found that were identified or announced by the FBI as belonging to Brian Laundrie, not being able to have the DNA confirmed. And as you guys are a very smart audience, I don't ever see people in my chat, on my social media, and Trisha's chat on Web Sleuths being duped by some of these fake news, news agencies or news outlets. But I think this is worthy of talking about because I've seen it around on the socials today. So I'll go ahead and put this in right now. Let me just take.
Post has been circling around Facebook, and I've gotten a lot of questions and messages about it, so I wanted to share about it here. So the first thing here, it says Laundrie's DNA does not match the skull found. This has not been confirmed. All we know is that autopsy results came back as inconclusive. If this was true, that the DNA does not match the skull, and this came out from an autopsy report, this would be everywhere. This is not what inconclusive autopsy results mean. We don't know. They may have not been able to extract enough DNA to match. So yes, the autopsy results were inconclusive, no cause of death were determined, and according to the Laundrie lawyer, there will not be a funeral at this time because the remains are going to an anthropologist for further analysis. But if you see this post floating around Facebook or anywhere else, please be aware that this is not actually true or what is meant.
Okay, so there you go. Skyline News is not your news source. It looks like, okay, I'm watching myself on another monitor on a delay. Probably not the best idea. Living and learning here, guys, every single day. Every single day. By the way, I think this is going to be my normal time. So I like this time. I like between 5:30 and 6 o'clock. It gives me a break if I'm going to do something with Trisha on Web Sleuths later on. And it just seems to work for me. It gives me time to do the things that I need to do as well. So I hope it works well for you. So the title of my video was MOPO to NOPO. Sounds a little street. But I meant Moab Police Department to Northport Police Department and the mishaps, because I think we can all agree that there were mistakes made at that stop outside of Arches. I think there were big red flags with that, that shows that Moab Police Department require, as well as other police departments, require some additional training. And then additionally, we're seeing some of these mistakes coming out of Northport. And the biggest one is what we talked about, or not the biggest one, but the one that we're really is on the forefront of everyone's minds is what Josh Taylor, the public information officer from Northport Police Department, confirmed yesterday, was that when the Mustang returned to the Laundrie house on the 15th, there was an officer that was supposed to have eyes on Brian, and he unfortunately did not. He ID'd that the driver of the Mustang returning to the house is Brian Laundrie, and it was actually Roberta. So there's all these things coming out, and we're going to go over some of that as well. And then I have some other things to present to you, but as long as we're here and in the moment and talking about Brian, I did find this other TikTok and I thought it was interesting. Take it for what it is. It's not groundbreaking, but I think it's come up a couple of times that we haven't seen anybody come forward identifying themselves as a friend of Brian Laundrie. And I think that's interesting. Did he even have any friends? Or was Gabby his whole world? And that's why, you see signs of isolating her, putting her down, controlling her. And, we know how that ended. So this is a TikTok video regarding a person it's from a couple weeks ago, but a person that came forward as someone that used to work with Brian. And I find it interesting. So here we go.
We have finally, for the first time, heard from somebody who knew Brian in the past that wasn't his family. Michael Livingston is a 31-year-old landscaper who worked at a nursery where Brian Laundrie did odd jobs in 2017 and 2018. The things he had to say about Brian, I think, is very telling. So I got all of this from a New York Post article. So the first thing he said was he was the kind of guy who would get pissed off pretty quickly. He also said he was very clean and would always have clean hands despite working in the garden. He said he never came across as the type of person that would kill somebody, but he did have the tendency to be, and then he said he doesn't want to say the wrong thing, but he said, quote, he was the kind of guy who would get pissed off pretty quick. He also said that he thought he was a weirdo because of the way that he would talk, and he was a total yoga nut. He said that Brian Laundrie had the volatile personality of a chameleon. He also said that he actually met Gabby when she would visit Brian at work. He said, of course, he never witnessed him being mean or abusive towards her, but that Laundrie did appear to be jealous when he would notice Gabby talking to other guys. He said, quote, he knew how to make people like him, he knew how to make people happy, and he knew how to make people buy the product that we had, honest. He had the same kind of air you would be taught if you worked at a dealership. And then he said that once he realized that somebody who was missing was somebody he knew, it hit him like a tidal wave. And he said, I think the only reason why she settled for him is he wanted to travel. Again, Michael Livingston does not know a whole ton about the two of them and about their relationship, but he did work with Brian and is just sharing his experience getting to know Brian and working with him.
So there you go. Somebody that worked with Brian, and my two takeaways from that were that this person that worked with Brian said he had the volatile personality of a chameleon. Not really sure what that means, but the way I internalized it is that he could just change on a dime. Like, he seemed like he was all cool and chill, but he had this other side. He also said that he had the personality to, joke around, to please, to seem like he was social, but in reality, he wasn't. And, he felt like Gabby was looking for a travel partner, and, Brian kind of fit the bill. He was yoga outdoor man, and he was willing to go. And that's just so sad, because from everything we've seen, Gabby looks like a lovely person who a lot of young men would have been honored to be associated or attached or what have you. I think it's sad that anybody would say that, that's why she chose Brian, but definitely, I don't want to think that she thought she was settling. I don't know if that makes it better or worse, that she really loved him or if she was settled, but I guess that's just everybody has their own opinions on that. I find it sad. That is something that is sad about her. So we've gone through those. Let me take a look. Let's see what I want to show you all next. And go here. And I want to go and take a look at this right here. It's going to load up in just a second, hopefully. I don't see it happening yet. Oh, that is concerning. Okay, here we go. All right. So this is from, I'm not seeing it show up on the screen. Okay, here we go. This is from Justin Shecker at WFLA. And he writes on 9/17. Let me see if I can make this look a little bit better. Let me do this. Yes, much better. Much better. See? I'm going to get here one day. All right, so here we go. So he says 9/17, Brian Laundrie's parents report him missing. 9/16, I don't know where Brian's at. Northport PD Chief Garrison, or I know where Brian's at. Northport PD Chief Garrison said. At WFLA has learned that was based on a mistake. The officers thought Brian returned home in the Mustang when it was actually his mom. And then we have a little clip that we haven't, I know you've seen it, but we haven't watched it together here. And I, just for posterity, would like to watch this clip with you today. So we're going to go ahead and do that. Let me just take myself out of the stream just in case that's going to be.
By the time Northport police named Brian Laundrie a person of interest, his parents had already seen him for the last time.
Chris and Roberta have been worried about Brian Laundrie since Brian went out for the hike on that Monday.
The Laundrie family attorney, Stephen Bertolino, says he notified the FBI by that Tuesday, but Northport police say they didn't know Brian was missing until that Friday, September 17th. In fact, at this news conference with Gabby's father, Chief Todd Garrison said,
"All I'm going to say is I know where Brian's at."
8 on Your Side has learned that statement was based on a mistake by police watching the Laundrie home. Northport police spokesperson Josh Taylor says officers thought they observed Brian Laundrie return home Wednesday the 15th in the Mustang, but it was actually his mother, Roberta Laundrie, wearing a baseball cap, with Taylor adding, they're kind of built similarly. We requested the official missing person report for Brian Laundrie. Citing the ongoing investigation, Northport police redacted everything except for the date, time, and address.
Okay, so there we go on that. Reason I wanted to share that with you. I know we had that information yesterday, but I felt it. I wanted to talk about it with you guys. So I want to ask you a question, and I'm going to go over to the chat and take a look. My question to you is, based on some of the things that Stephen Bertolino, the attorney, has said about Roberta and Chris reporting Brian missing on Wednesday, and then Northport says, nope, we didn't hear about that till Friday. We know that Northport screwed up on the visual ID because it was Roberta that returned to the Mustang and not Brian. In this specific situation, okay, let's not talk about how they treated, how the Laundries treated the Petito Schmidt family. Are you having a shift in how you feel about the parents at all in this particular situation? Anything? Because, again, I think the way they treated Gabby's family, her parents, was unforgivable. But if they truly did report their child missing on Wednesday and Northport didn't act on it, or there was a miscommunication between Northport and the FBI and the attorney, it kind of changes the way things played out for us in real time, and looking back, it's like maybe the Laundrie family wasn't acting as janky as we have accused them of. So I don't know. And I am seeing that you guys are saying no. Jane Sheringhausen says no. Let's see. JD Bambara says nope. Let's see. I'm looking on my phone because it's much easier, but I'm going to go ahead to your comments. So you said nope. Let's see. Kathy says, I've not liked them from the beginning. Sketchy. Even if Northport made a mistake, they were cruel. I agree. Like I said, the way they treated the parents, unforgivable. Let's see. Kim Schlicker, how you doing? Says, yeah, it's not right. Parents who lose a child do not act like this. Yeah, we don't see this kind of behavior very often. We've seen it in other cases, but it's not, I guess, the expectation. So I will say that. I had to scroll up a little bit. I'm losing you guys because you're wonderful and sharing comments. Let's see. Jane Sabine, the Laundries went out in the red truck, came back, one in the truck, one in the Mustang. They thought was Brian, and what the heck did they think happened to Roberta? Exactly. Roberta was standing on the grassy knoll. Part of a conspiracy theory. Tracy Schuler, you say they were acting janky. They were. Oh, you changed your profile picture. I think it's cute. So cute kitty. Let's see. Rotary dial. Nope. No shift. I feel bad their son is gone, but BS, they gave it enough time to flood. Yeah. I go back and forth, It's like I have this analytical mind, and I have a lot of things in my life that are black and white, cut and dry, and I'm a big fan of the law. I think what's happened here is, in my mind, there's some clouding right now, and I think I'm trying to let the dust settle, let things marinate so I can figure out where I stand. But I don't. It was a big old mistake, you guys. Big. Twin Mom 2011, she says, I'm not trying to give anything to the parents. Let's see. Kat H said, someone walked up behind Dad at mailbox, Dad, meaning Chris Laundrie, and said, sorry for your loss. Dad said thanks and took a breath. Yep. So I'm not sure in what context this is coming in, but the story was he took that car. Yeah. So that's the thing. He took the Mustang out to the reserve, and then the Mustang returned. So he left on, originally we thought it was Tuesday, but it was actually Monday. And then the car comes back and Northport says, oh, we got a 20 on him because just pulled into the driveway. It's Brian. But actually it was Roberta because she was wearing a baseball cap. Stacy Markert, very, I read it in your text or in your string of letters. Absolutely not. Kathy Lynch, your opinion of the parents has not changed. So I'm saying across the board, if we were taking a poll, this is like a 99% negative. Let's see. True Court and Crime Junkie. I love your name. Yes, I agree with you. The way they treated Petito and Schmidt family was terrible. That lawyer is hard to believe also. Yeah, I think at this point, the lawyer needs to just shut up. I think a lot of people wanted him to shut up the day that he turned up on the scene or became part of the story. But at this point, he's kind of running this I told you so campaign, and it's really not working well for him, like in an optics kind of way. Let's see. Debbie Hicks says, Amy, I feel the parents knew where Brian was, as they probably found him when they picked up the Mustang. They have lots of explaining to do. Debbie, I can't say that I don't agree with you. I keep hearing I've listened to these videos today, these accounts of the route that Chris and Roberta took when they went into the Carlton Reserve or the Myakkahatchee Park when it reopened. And my understanding is that they went along the main trail, and then there's kind of this little place where they cut through the woods to cut off the time that it would have taken them to take the trail organically to where they needed to go. They kind of bypass it. Everybody says they take a 190-degree right and bypass that trail where it loops around so they get to the other side quicker. And then it's, they've discovered the remains. So I know there's a lot of coincidences, but that is a big one for me. And I'm still having a hard time accepting it. So weird, Mom. What you doing, girly? I hope you're having a better day today. I was worried about you yesterday. Let's see. You said when they blew up Gabby's family, I formed my opinion. They suck. Yeah, I think a lot of people are right there with you. And let's see. Tracy Schuler. Brian was gone for how many weeks? And they did not once go and just sit in their car while searchers were searching. Yeah, I would have been camped out. They would have had to try to keep me out of there every single day. Because I would be I want to be riding shotgun. Rotary dial. We rely on the police to identify all kinds of felons. BS on the mistake. Oh, yeah. Don't even get me started on that. I thought about that in a lot of different contexts and scenarios. Linda Blue, you're saying definitely they were protecting their son. Berserker Loki, good to see you. I feel bad that their son put them in the situation, but it was their choice to respond how they did. That's really an important statement too. We're having a little bit of accountability problem in our home. And we're constantly trying to find the right phrasing to use with kids. And one of the things that we say is doesn't matter what other people are doing or what they did to you. How you respond is your responsibility. You have to own that. You're making a choice. And that is a perfect example right there. Let's see. Detective's daughter. I'm thinking that there's a whole lot of hinky going on. I think the FBI and NPPD were pitting against each other instead of working together. Yes, I think you're right. And I think there was a whole lot of ego going on. And there's no room for that because this is the outcome. You hinder an investigation. You botch things up. And you lose the faith of the public. They just don't believe in you anymore. They can't. We need to believe in those that are there to serve and protect. They're, ultimately police are peacekeepers. That's what they, should be looked at. And when we can't trust their decision-making skills and their process, it becomes a danger to society and the public. All right. Judging parents aside, we still don't know the story of him leaving. That's true. We don't. We don't. And I'd love to know it. So I think I got my answer on that. It's 100% no. Stacy again says, if they had called Gabby's parents right away, then I would. No excuse for that cruel behavior. There's none. It's unforgivable. It's absolutely unforgivable. And I've said it a couple of times, and just because I say it doesn't make it right or true. I understand that. But one of the things that bothers me about that is that even if we don't know what Brian told them. So obviously, whatever happened, they felt the need to get legal representation. And their attorney told them not to talk. Well, you are supposed to listen to your attorney, but there was a way around this. And they could have picked up the phone and said, listen, Gabby or Brian's back here, Gabby's van. We have a lawyer. You need to call the police. And then Nicole Schmidt and Joe Petito and their respective spouses could have been on this weeks earlier. Much quicker. But they didn't even give them that. And that is despicable. Mel Mack says, the only reasonable answer is to be forthcoming will be a family file civil suits. Yeah, and I expect they will. I 100% do. You know, speaking of that, let me catch up in the chat. I'm gonna circle back to civil suits. Maybe just make myself a note because I'm ADD and I either won't circle back or when I do, my note will make no sense because that's how I sushi roll. Let's see. Yep. I like it. Hey, sister, soul sister. At Luna Blue, they should just park their egos at the door and grow the flock up. 100%. Am I ever going to catch up with you guys in chat? Debbie Hicks says, yes, the dad darted through the bushes straight to the backpack. Imagine them seeing their son dead and leaving him. I think that's what they did. I can buy into that. I can. Yep. Gambler 77713. Good to see you. Their lawyer and Brian put his family in a bad position. Absolutely. 100%. You guys are going to hear some noise downstairs. I swear. I mean, Chris, my husband, his ears are damaged from being in the military. I mean, that's just, if you've ever known anybody to be in the military, to ever have been deployed in an active situation, it takes the toll on their ears. But maybe it's because he talks so loud. The kids just talk loud and they don't hear. Oh my gosh. I love this area upstairs because it's my quiet place and I need that. But the noise travels. There's not a door. We're in the process of trying to put a door at the top of the stairs so I don't hear that. But they're getting a little hyper down there. I start hearing them. You might hear them in the background. And I had a troll take my headphones. And when they came back, the wire's gone. So we got to work on that problem too. It's real life, guys. Sorry. Oh, okay. Yes. Better day to day. Just hanging out with some of my favorite friends, talking true crime. I love you folks. We love you too, the weird mom. I love all you guys in the chat. So glad everybody's here. All right. So there is a lot of explaining to do, Kim. There is. Let's see. What are you saying, Kitty Von Meow? This is an example of ethical degradation creating real-life repercussions. Only by reacting in such a heartless way could the Laundries expect anything but a dead son. I agree. And very well said. Very well said. Let's see. Kathy Stallsworth says, I think all of the officers investigating this situation felt it was an easy case, and they were not as diligent. Yeah, I think they thought it was a slam dunk too. I think there's just a lot of arrogance about different things. Lacey Paradise said, I'm a parent and no, I would have talked to parents and hired lawyer for son, not for me. Yeah, well, my husband and I have discussed this too. We know we wouldn't cover for our children. We just wouldn't. that goes against our moral compass. We will hold their hand. We will say, you know, you're in some trouble and we're going to try to help you navigate through this, but we won't cover for them. We won't lie for them. And we hope we're never in that position. But I mean, that's our stance. Kim, wonder if he left his wallet and phone at home or parents brought them back home. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, God, I didn't want to think about that. Let's see. Kathy says, even if the devil, CW's dad, meaning Chris Watts, made him tell the truth, stuck by him, but made him be accountable. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And Tracy says, and actions have consequences. I would never be one of the protesters yelling on their street, but I don't feel sorry for them at all. They chose to act how they did. Yes. And this is a direct result of a choice they made, and they have to be, you know, they can't blame that on anybody else. Rotary Dial, you don't believe there's going to be justice in this case. I'm hoping that there are some civil things. Hello, Connie, my one flip in life. It's good to see you. Melmac says, I heard way back from someone that was from Northport, and that area has gotten a name for a backdoor or sketchy behavior as highways and waters is an easy way to move things, in quotes. I have zero clues in it, if it is. Heard way back from someone that was from Northport. Okay, so some parts of South Florida, yes. I don't believe in some parts of Northport, maybe, because you do have the piece of a river flowing through, like almost on the Venice side of the park, like beyond the park. But in Northport, I don't know 100%. I know in South Florida, that's a big, big problem. When people go missing down there, there's so many canals and waterways and things like that. It's really bad. Carol Clark, I agree with you. You gotta check that ego at the door. Annie, say hello. I'm late. I'm wondering if after Brian told his parents his story about what happened, if they were in total shock and they found out she was actually strangled, for example, not matching his story. I'd love to know that too. It's been said before, but if the Laundrie parents ever talk, if they ever give an interview to one of the big agencies, that'll be sweeps week, because we want to know what Brian told them. And we want to know if what Brian told them differed from the reality and how, you know, what that was like. Some stuff just fell off my desk. That's life. I don't know what you guys are talking about. I'll just let you be. Keep on chatting. That's what we're here for. Let's see. I'm going to kind of scoot down here. Let's see. PJ, I still think they were already in mourning. It's why they stayed inside. I knew he wasn't coming back, and they were just waiting for him to be found. But when he wasn't, they went to find him themselves. Ding, 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 PJ. 100% agree. I think that's a very plausible scenario, and I usually don't go in that direction, but in this case, it makes sense. All right. Uh-oh. I'm always telling my one granddaughter, if it's not yours, don't touch it. It's a slow process. She has sticky fingers. That's what I say too. If it's not yours, don't touch it. So, Carolyn Dillman said, question. So has Brian's bones been confirmed by the FBI for certain? His dental records have. His bones have been sent to a forensic anthropologist. But my assumption is, and it is an assumption, because the FBI stood up and said the remains found are those of Brian Laundrie's. They were identified via dental records. So I am assuming that's yes. The reason they've gone to a forensic anthropologist is because the manner and cause of death is not visually evident, to them at that point, and they needed further confirmation and an expert to look into that. So that's kind of why I played that other TikTok video about the rumors going around that, oh, it's not Brian's bones. They don't have that confirmed. I believe they do. So, and here's another one. Lacey's saying, the parents knew and they let him sit. or set him up in New York at their house, got him a facelift. No, Lacey. I mean, you can believe that. That's fine. I don't believe the second part of it at all. But I think they did. I think they did know. I think there's a chance that they knew and they let him sit. So, yeah, I agree with you, Mel Mac. You say, I think Barney Fife, Andy Griffith, and Gomer Pyle. Was it Sergeant Carter that always got so mad at Gomer Pyle? I used to watch that like when I was homesick when I was little. Could have been a bit better than what's going on in Northport. I agree. Let's see. The weird mom says, in quotes, we will get through this together type stuff rather than how can we help you run from this and never be held accountable for your actions you choose to take type stuff. Yep. I hear ya. Kathy thinks you're a loud talker too. They're loud. I'm telling you, the TV is loud. They're loud. I'm in the kitchen trying to we have open concept. So kitchen opens to the family room and I'm cooking dinner and they've got TVs on and stuff. And I'm just like, I can't even, because I'm a dork, I can't even play Jeopardy with Alexa because I can't do it over you guys. They're so loud. This is my clubhouse where I get away from it. I can still hear it, but I don't hear it at full blast. Marissa says, or Marisa, no, if my son came home without his girlfriend, it's up to me as a parent to get on the phone and corroborate the story. Their silence killed 2 people. In my opinion, Brian may have had mental issues. Silence was deadly. I love that you wrote that. I agree. As a parent, even I'm a step parent of adult children, even young adult children, in their 20s, early 20s. And, they're still flipping and flopping through life sometimes. And when we get stories about things or whatever, we check them out. We have to. We're just not going to, it's not even a credibility issue. It's just like, do we have all the details? Because you're asking me to do something that I'm not comfortable doing without knowing the whole story. Cat H. So long as his words and his tablet are not more hurtful for Gabby's family. Oh, are you talking about what's in the notebook? I did hear today that they were talking about the condition of the notebook, and I think it's going to be a viable source of information. That's really good news. You don't hear the background stuff all back. I'm glad. I listened to one part on the replay the other night, and I could hear it. So I wasn't sure if you guys could hear it. Tammy Erickson, an accidental retiree. I'm a retired reading specialist who worked with many students during my career who had emotional issues. My feeling since seeing the stop in with the police in August, he had issues. I think a lot of people agree with you, Tammy Erickson. And thank you. I haven't seen you in chat before, so welcome. It's nice to meet you. And I don't hold a medical license, so I can say this without getting in trouble, but I also have to tell you that I'm not a doctor. There is something off about Brian, and I'll take you back to, what his friend or what his coworker said about him, that, he was he had the volatile personality of a chameleon, and that he could play the part of being the nice guy. He could sell it to you. So like a used car salesman. And he was definitely selling it on the side of the road in Moab to the police. Oh, Krasha, it's so nice to see you. She says, thank you so much for investing your love, compassion, time, and belief into me and Tylee, JJ, and Charles. Love always wins. Oh, you're so sweet. You're so sweet. And I owe you a phone call because I do have some things I need to get over to you. And you and I have to be, sorry, you guys, this should be a separate phone call, but as long as Krish is here, I'm going to take advantage of it. You and I have to be on the phone at the same time in order for me to do it. So I need to shoot you a text and figure out a time when you have 15 minutes. I know you're terribly busy, but I want to get this taken care of so that you can leap off into success. G-Dubs, I think your profile picture would have done a better job than Northport. Sorry. It's like a cat with a sheriff's hat on. Hey everyone, my thoughts are that the parents were pretty sure they was going to take his own life when he left the house, which explains why they weren't more concerned with searching for him. And I agree with you. I think that the lawyer almost slipped up on that. He made comments that Chris felt like he didn't want Brian to go out there, but he couldn't stop him. We've had the conversation. They could have stopped him. They could have called 911. And the police would have had to go out into either follow the car or go out into that reserve that night. They could have done it the next day. They could have done it 2 days later. But that didn't happen. So, all right. Hey, Algo. Nice to see you. Luna Blue, I don't know what Gabby saw on Brian. Very, very, very sad. Okay. So, let's see. I'm just looking at my tabs here. I am going to move over. I'm going to go ahead and move on. Well, actually, I'm going to post a question for you guys. I'm going to tell you something, and then we're going to move on because I'm working on not taking you through my crazy brain. Somebody mentioned civil suits before, and this is really important. I don't have a visual for this. I wish I did. But I'm going to share it with you. So this afternoon, I got a phone call, and it was from a blocked number. And my stepdaughter has my extra car right now. And somebody damaged it, and there's a police report. And so basically, when I was talking to the officer involved in making the report, he had told me, I'm gonna have another officer, another division call you back in a couple of days, but it will come from a blocked number. So normally I wouldn't answer the phone for a blocked number, but he said, I just need, Miss Fallon, I need to make you aware. Please answer your phone because they're, So blocked number comes across my phone today, and I pick it up, and it's this guy on the phone, and he doesn't say who he is or who he works for. He says that I'm being, there's a court case against me, and that I need to give him a time when I'm available to sign some documents. So what I need to do is call this other number with my case number so that we can make arrangements. And if I don't do it, that I could be arrested. And so, of course, this scared me for a second. But then I went on the FCC website, and I also Googled, this is exactly what I Googled. I said 2021 must sign papers, court case, phone call. I don't know because I didn't read the whole article. It was identified by the FCC as a scam. And yeah, here's the thing though. This person didn't have an accent like they were in a call center. It was weird. You get those phone calls all the time? Okay, yeah, I had to look it up. So, if you guys get a phone call like that, I didn't take down the case number. I just hung up the phone. But here's the weird thing. About 30 minutes later, my sister calls me, and they had called her about it. So I don't know exactly. I guess what you do is you call with the case number, and they're like, okay, can you confirm your social security number? And that's how they do it. But yikes, it was horrible. Yeah, it is a scam. I know it's a scam to take his daughter, and I didn't react to it. I mean, I didn't call the number. I didn't call the case number. I just hung up the phone and Googled it. I did report it to the FCC. That's just one I hadn't heard of before. Oh my gosh, that happened to a friend. Had all her information was scammed out of $2,000. Yeah. I mean, so when I was 18 years old, the summer after I graduated from high school, my summer job was super glamorous, you guys. It's one of the things about having parents that, whatever. I love my mom. She's amazing. She's absolutely amazing. She's wonderful. But I always had jobs that were to get the experience, not working at the, I worked at the mall when I was 15, but I didn't have fun, cool jobs. Let's just say that. but I am thankful for it now. But anyway, I was a judicial assistant for a family court judge the summer before I went off to college. And so I know a lot about how these things work. And I know that the process server is not going to call you. I know that the courthouse is not going to call you and all that. So thank God, I had that back knowledge, but I just feel badly for people that don't, because it could be very scary. Oh, they want you to pay a fine over the phone. Huh. Wow. He's saying, Prussia, the Laundrie family reminds me of the Cox family, the enablement for sure. Of course, I am not able to follow as much, but it crossed my mind while playing out. Definitely, it's the same dynamic. They're covering for their children, and they, their children have never been taught accountability. That's what it is. It's always like, somebody's after me, somebody's, they're trying to hurt me, they're being mean to me. No, these are reactions to your actions and your choices. And so this is what you're facing now. You can't blame things on other people. I 100% agree with you, Prussia. Oh, Detective Stoddard, you're sweet. I'm book smart. I have no common sense, I'll tell you that. I will freely admit that. It was so terrible. I once got lost in my own neighborhood. And then I was trying to follow. It was when I first moved in with Chris. I was walking in the neighborhood and I got lost. It got dark and I couldn't get my bearings. I was trying to use my MapQuest. And I remember I made a Facebook post and I said, I'm relying on the GPS to get me home, but it autocorrected to God. Chris texted back. He's like, I don't even think God could, not text. He posted on Facebook back, I don't even think God could help you. He had to come get me. It was terrible. So anyway, all right. So got all of that out of the way. So we are still going to talk about Gabby and Brian. I believe they will still continue the investigation as updates come. We will definitely be talking about them. But I want to know from you guys what direction you want to go into next. I have a couple ideas for cases that I want to cover. Of course, I'm always going to cover the ones that I've been involved with before, and that includes Charles Vallow, Lori Daybell, Chad. Daybell has no chin. That case is not going away. Letitia Stout, with the death of Gannon Stout, that'll be definitely there. I'll tell you that Anthony Todt out of Celebration, Florida, went to court today. This court hearing, or his trial date, keeps being pushed back. I have to go back and check what happened today, but he's a family annihilator. Definitely be talking about that. Celebration is not far from where I live. It's the Disney community. So it's in Osceola County, and I'm kind of in this triangle near there. So it's not that far from me. Interesting thing about that case, it was so weird. There was an estate sale, and my mom's like, she loves estate sales. There was an estate sale about a year ago, I think, maybe a little bit longer, maybe like 16 months ago. And I remember I looked at the address and thought, it can't be the Todt home. And then a friend texted me and she's like, you're not going to believe this. They had an estate sale. It was like all the children's games and stuff. It was really yucky. I didn't go. I can't imagine. But hey, Gray Hughes, nice to see you. So I want to know from you guys, like, what do you want to cover? I have some ideas. I have the things that are, already going on in the background. This will, the Gabby Petito case will definitely roll onto that. But think about it. Send me some. I'm not asking you to do my show. Just trying to organize like what you want to hear about. I don't want to be. I'm always going to have that overlap and that relationship with Trisha Griffith from Web Sleuths. But what I don't want to do is to have a show and then her have a show and her doing the same thing all the time, and it becomes, boring for you all. I mean, we could do other things over here and we can have overlap and what have you. So I have 2 articles real quick that I'm going to go through because I thought these were interesting. Send me some feedback. Let me know. Put it in the comments because this is your channel too. I I wrote in the description, you guys have a lot of input here. I always have the last word, which is Chad Daybell has no chin. But, I want to be able to have your input. So here, let's see if this is up on the screen. It is up on the screen. Yay. So this is an article that I found interesting. Dayton Police Department expands cold case unit, announces new podcast to highlight unsolved cases. Reason I'm bringing this to you is because I am a firm believer in crowdsourcing for true crime. This is dated October 26th, Dayton. The Dayton Police Department is expanding its cold case unit. The unit will now have 3 full-time detectives, and its work will expand to include sexual assault cases in addition to homicides. According to a release from the police, I did not read that very well, you guys. Take 2. The unit will now have 3 full-time detectives, and its work will expand to include sexual assault cases in addition to homicides, according to a release from the police department. Previously, 1 detective was dedicated to cold case work. Victims of violent crime, to include their families and loved ones, are a top priority of our department. We are making changes in hopes of greatly impacting the way we investigate and hopefully solve cases that for years have gone unsolved, said Major Brian Johns, Commander of Investigations and Administrative Services. And so the article goes on to say, detectives are in the process of reviewing old homicide and sexual assault case files in order to categorize them based upon DNA evidence and other credible evidence, the release said. To help with the task, student interns from the University of Dayton will partner with the police department to help with the cataloging of old case files. In addition to the 3 full-time cold case detectives, retired detectives will assist with re-examination of files in an effort to identify those with increased evidentiary value for higher solvability, the release said. The police says it will continue to utilize advances in technology such as DNA, forensic genealogy, computer forensics, and more to help solve homicide and sexual assault cases. The Dayton Police Department is also launching a podcast to highlight and bring awareness to unsolved cases in an effort to gain new or additional information and potential leads. Anyone with any information on unsolved homicide or sexual assault is asked to call the Dayton Police Department Cold Case Unit at 937-333-7109. And that is the end of that article, but I love it. I love the idea. I'm definitely going to pop in and listen to some of that and see how that's going. I don't know if they're beta testing it for other, if this is a beta test there, or if they've seen it done somewhere else and decided to incorporate it into their own police department. But I definitely find it interesting. I was sharing with Trisha, and this is something that I have upcoming on my channel, and I'll just share it with you because, if somebody else does it, then I think that's, does it as well as me, I think that's awesome. The more, the better. And I'm just going to look at it that way. I have reached out in my local area and then in some other states to both Crime Line and Crime Stoppers and said, I want to do once or twice a week. Can your person that's a representative for, either whatever that agency is in your area, come on and say, hey, we're in Fayetteville and these are our top cases, and maybe somebody's listening, or maybe you guys can, Google around, or maybe it gets passed on somewhere and these cases become more, go viral, maybe, just get more awareness, because we have to remember that things happen in other cities and they may not seem like major crimes to us, but they are to the victims. And we live in a very transient society. A lot of us travel for work. Maybe we do long-term work other places. Maybe we go and visit family. I know a couple of you go out of town once a month to take care of a family member. So you're in a completely another state or area or something like that. And you might have seen something that you don't even realize that you saw. So I like this idea. So very soon we're going to start featuring those things from other cities and places across the United States. And hopefully I have a couple of people on board, but hopefully we'll get those representatives to be guests on the show and just kind of spotlight a couple of things that they're working on and just see how it goes. It can't hurt. It can't hurt. All right. So there's that. I'm going to share this second article with you real quick. Then I'm going to go back to the chat because I thought this was a really interesting case. And I want you to be able to see the article. Oh, it looks like I'm missing one. So I had two, but this is okay. So two today that are about DNA. This is the first. This comes from the AP Wire. It's the Fayetteville Observer. Sheriff, newly ID'd Gacy victim's death was news to family. Chicago. When the discovery of more than 24 bodies stashed under John Wayne Gacy's house near Chicago was making headlines all over the world in the late 1970s, Francis Wayne Alexander's family in North Carolina didn't think much of it. The way they saw it, Alexander had cut off communication with them because he wanted to be left alone. Then came news this month that for more than 40 years, the man they knew as Wayne was also known as victim number 5 in the city where he had gone to start a new life. They were told that DNA tests on the remains of one of the half-dozen unidentified victims of the notorious serial killer were Alexander's. They just loved him, but they thought that he wanted nothing more to do with them, so that's why there was never any missing persons report, Cook County Sheriff Tom Dart said at a news conference Monday announcing the latest victim identification. Come on, scroll with me. Scroll with me. All right. Though Dart and Alexander's mother and the other relatives didn't want to speak publicly about his identification as a Gacy victim, Alexander's sister, Carolyn Sanders, made clear that the family never stopped thinking of what might have become of him. It is hard, even 45 years later, to know the fate of our beloved Wayne, Sanders wrote in a statement released by Dart's office. He was killed at the hands of a vile and evil man. Our hearts are heavy, and our sympathies go out to the other victims' families. We can now lay to rest what happened and move forward by honoring Wayne. Alexander's remains were among 26 sets that the police found in a crawl space under Gacy's home just outside the city. 3 other victims were found buried on Gacy's property, and another 4 people whom Gacy admitted killing were found in waterways south of Chicago. 8 victims, including Alexander, were buried before police could determine who they were, but Dart's office exhumed the 8 sets of remains in 2011 and called on anyone who had a male relative disappear in Chicago area in the 1970s when Gacy was trolling for victims to submit DNA. Within weeks, the sheriff's office announced that it had identified 1 set of remains as those of William Bundy, a 19-year-old construction worker. In 2017, it identified a second set of those identified a second set as those of 16-year-old Jimmy Hakinson, who disappeared after he phoned his mother in Minnesota and told her that he was in Chicago. Dart and Lieutenant Jason Moran shared that what they knew about Alexander. Born in North Carolina, he moved to New York, where he was married, and then on to Chicago in 1975, where he soon divorced. The last known records of Alexander's life were traffic tickets he received, the last of which came in January 1976. Unlike many victims who were lured to Gacy's home with the promise that he'd get them construction work, Alexander worked in bars and clubs where there was no record of him working in construction or having made contact with Gacy. But Alexander did live in the area that Gacy frequented, and that is where some of Gacy's other victims had lived, including Bundy. Unlike with Bundy and Hakinson, who are identified because family members heeded Dart's 2011 call for the public to submit DNA, Alexander was identified through a partnership between the sheriff's office and the DNA Doe Project. The nonprofit compared victim number 5's DNA profile to profiles on a genealogy website to find potential relatives. That led to Alexander's family, and Alexander's mother and half-brother provided their DNA for comparison. So it goes on to say, it's a long article, but between genetic testing, financial records, post-mortem reports, and other information, investigators were able to confirm that the remains were Alexander's. They were able to get a general sense of when he was killed, and they knew they were able to get a general sense of when he was killed because they knew when the victim who was buried on top of him went missing. So I'm going to go ahead and drop this link in the chat. It's a good article. It's interesting. It's along the lines of some of the things that Trisha Griffith covers on her channel, and specifically to Othram Labs, who, she spends a lot of time talking about, and for good reason. Go ahead and read that article. I am going to dive a little bit deeper into that if you all are interested, because it's a good one. There is another one that came out about DNA, and I'll look at the time. It's about 6:30. I'll go ahead and do that one tomorrow, because I think we're running a little long here. Let's see. Robin Lane said Gacy had a victim named Bundy. Yikes. Yeah. There's a lot in that article, and as I moved through it and kind of went down little rabbit holes, and like there's a lot more to talk about here. And one of the things, not only the names and the relationships and things like that, but it's very important that if you have a family member that you lose track of, that you don't know where they are. I think it's very sad that this gentleman's family thought he just wanted to be left alone and respected his privacy. I get that. And we come back to the same thing. It's called a wellness check. They're not going to drag an adult back to you. In fact, if you're my friend and we lose touch and I don't know where you are and I become concerned, let's say, you used to live next door to me and you decided to pick up and move across the country and you never want to talk to me again, I can still call a wellness check. And, if they find you and locate you, they're going to say, this is why we're here. Are you okay? Let's make sure. And then at some point they'll come back to me and say, they're fine. They won't tell me where they are. They won't tell me what you're doing or why you left or any of that. That's all your business. You're an adult. But it's heartbreaking. And when you file that report, if you do I don't know if I could pull it up on my screen right now. Let me see. If I can pull it up on my screen, I will do this because this is a soapbox for me. If you do follow the recommendations of these organizations like the Class Kids Foundation, Center for Missing and Exploited Children, things like that, you will be, what do I want to say, prompted to do a set of things to make sure that you're, servicing your loved one to the best of your ability. So let me see if this is it, because it might be. I might have actually got lucky on a lot of those. Let me see if I really did. Okay. All right, I did. All right, so real quick, I'm going to take you guys over to Namus, and I'm going to show you something right here. So Namus is a database for missing people, and it's national. And that's the wrong page. How do you feel about not all states and agencies using, Namus? Like it's a national database, shouldn't we? And he agreed. And I said, well, how do we change that as constituents? How do we how do we say, like, no, you need to, everybody needs to be going to the same place and cataloging missing persons information. And his response was that we need to write our political officials. And so Namus is a really, it's a great website because not only do you upload your missing loved one with the police report and everything, you have an opportunity to enter multiple photos, videos, things like that. A lot of things that can help identify your loved one, your missing victim, as well as linking medical records and things like that. So on their website, they have a user guide entering a missing persons case. I'm obviously not going to read you all 19 pages. It's a PDF, but I'm going to show you that they tell you exactly how their dashboard works and how to create an account, how to create a missing persons case. And so they require demographics, the name. I know this is probably hard to see. Let me see if I can go full screen on this. Maybe I can. I know I can make it a little bit bigger. Hopefully that looks better. Let me just wait for that to transition my screen. I don't see it doing it though. Okay. And so there's an area for demographics, date of birth, circumstances. So last date of contact, last known location, city, state, county. Right here, if you can see my cursor, you can go ahead and put in a long narrative about the circumstances. Their physical height, weight, hair color, eye color, specify each eye color separately. So there's that whole section, your relationship, the reporting relationship of the person. And then the way that it shows up is, here's an example. John Quincy Smith, male, white, Caucasian. He's pending. Here's his Namus case number right here. It says where he's missing from, his age, his current age, matches, and it's an incredible place. It literally is, when people say there's no handbook, you can add specific physical features: amputation, artificial body part aid, deformity, finger and toenails, piercings, scars, marks, tattoos, other distinctive physical characteristics. And then you could create a narrative of that too. Their example is tattoo of a red heart on upper left arm and the name Cynthia and blue script letters above the heart. And guess what? You can also add a photo of that. You may also add images of distinctive physical features in addition to facial photographs, dental charts, fingerprint cards, or other images associated with your case. To add images, simply click the Images and Documents link at the top of the case file and then drag and drop or click Choose a File to upload one or more images to your case file. People need to know this, you guys. They're printing out flyers on their computers at home, which is good, but this is all in one place and it's national. That's national, and it's literally a handbook. I'm just scrolling through of what to do if your child or loved one goes missing. You can even edit your fingerprint information. It's crazy that these are not used. You could upload their dental records, all their personal electronics. Let's see. Note that Namus provides free forensic odontology services to assist agencies with the coding and entry of dental information into case files. Sorry, I'm not playing my A game with the pronunciation today. If you have any information regarding any of the missing person's electronic devices, such as wireless telephone or other mobile device, you may enter that information into personal electronics section, which is viewable only to professional users. So the professional users are going to be law enforcement or private investigators, somebody that's approved to have access to this other information. Add as much detail as you have regarding the missing person's transportation, such as the year, make, model, VIN, tag number, description, etc. And guess what? You can also make additional comments. I'm pointing to the screen, like you can see me. Additional comments about the vehicle. You can upload photos in the photo section. When you click save, that will all appear in the file. So you can add the investigating agency, case contributors. It's extensive. This is literally a user's guide to, I have somebody missing in my family, and I believe it's the #1 place to go and make sure that your loved one is getting the most exposure possible. So if you haven't heard of it before, it's just, I'll put the link in here. Hold on. Let me just make sure that I can go. No, I am so like, I get so passionate about stuff, you guys. That's what it is. I know I've heard like in a derogatory way, and it's okay. I mean, I'm not for everybody, but I get dramatic. I really, it's just, I get passionate about stuff. I really, really do. And I want to see, I don't want to see people fumbling around in the dark when it comes to something this serious, or putting all their eggs in one basket with their local law enforcement, because that doesn't always work either. They're not always serving your best interests for whatever reason. You have to be your own advocate. And I am a big proponent of not trying to reinvent the wheel. If it's already been done somewhere else, if it's already been set up and it's already been successful, then utilize it. Because especially when you're dealing with a missing person, you're running against a clock. So super, super important. Penguin, I love seeing you at any time. Thank you. And I just saw Charlie Hunt. Hey, Charlie Hunt, good to see you too. So I think on that note, just going to kind of, oh, thank you, Connie, my one flip in life. I do care about it. I do, because I see families struggling to try to get their kid's name out. And for me, the first thing I do is I go over and I look at Namus and I'm like, why aren't they there? Why aren't they here? And then, it just kind of goes from there. And if you especially, well, with adults too, but especially with children, if you have those fingerprint cards, if you have all that, I mean, if you, of course, when your child is missing, you're absolutely distressed. But if you can trust somebody in your network of friends or family to sit behind the computer and start uploading all this stuff, so that, in hour number 2 of your kid being missing, the whole nation has their fingerprints, their cell phone, their, it's important. It's important. It's important to me. I don't like to see families struggle when there's literally, like I said, not trying to make fun of it, but people always say, well, there's not a handbook for when your family member goes missing. Well, there is. There is. Use it. Use it. Talk about it. Whenever you see a missing person's case, drop this link to that family and say, hey, spread the word. Rotary Dial says, at True Crime Sushi, it wouldn't hurt if families were bored. They did this as family activities just to have the information on hand. Yeah, except you can't put them in there until they're missing. You have to have a report. But yeah. Oh man. Shiva's girl, you're getting disconnected from the chat. That's weird. All right. So on that note, I'm going to end it. I will ask you to put in the comment section of this video, where do you want to go next? Do you want to talk more specifically about things like forensics, or things like this, like the Namus database, or other databases where we hunt down things as like little, keyboard warriors, or whatever people want to call us? Do we want to talk about more cases being solved by social media? I'd like to know, or do you want to go back and revisit old cases once a week? I mean, do you want to go back in time and talk about, Gacy or talk about Bundy or I just need to know, like, well, what you want out of me. And I'll look at your ideas and I'll totally take them into consideration. Hey there, Todd. It's always good to see you. All right. So on that note, I'm going to ask a couple of things from you guys. So you don't want to hear my laundry list of, no pun, my laundry list of requests out of you. And you can, I'll say goodbye to you now and thank you for listening. And I really appreciate it and all that good stuff. But if you haven't yet subscribed, if you'd hit that red subscribe button, I'd be forever grateful to you. It means everything to me. Hit the notification bell so you never miss a live. Give the video a thumbs up or thumbs down. Doesn't matter to me. How you vote, I mean, I hope you vote yes, but is it voting? But it helps me with an algorithm. That's one. And two, it makes me take a look at what I'm doing right and what I'm doing wrong. Feel free to tell me that in the comments as well. I love hearing from you. I always say one of my goals when I started this was that I wanted to build that personal connection with you, with all of you. So love it when you guys reach out to me and, either through Facebook or through True Crime Sushi on Facebook. At Twitter, it's @Crime Sushi. My email is amy@truecrimesushi.com. I generally respond to everybody. If you've ever sent me something and I haven't responded, then it got lost in the shuffle 99% of the time. Human, I miss things. But for the most part, I'm really, really good about that. The other way you could help me out is there are things that, it costs money to do this. And from time to time, I'm not asking for a lot. If you feel like donating, I have a PayPal and I really, really appreciate that. I have been approved for monetization. I've chosen not to do it. I will not take, and this is no slight on any other creator in the world, okay? It's for me. I'm not trying to be a martyr or anything, but I'm not turning on super chats because I feel like when I give somebody, a $10 bill, I'm giving them a $10 bill. I'm not giving them $7. I don't feel like that 30% is fair. And it's not because it's not going into my pocket, you guys. It's because that wasn't your intention when you made that and that pledge. And I can't do it. I can't do it. So at this point, I'm not doing that. So that's in my description. If you want, it's not a big deal. The other ways you can support me are like subscribing, commenting, just interacting with me. And that is more important to me than anything else. So I thank you for doing all of those things. So on that note, I'm going to tell you that I will be back on, Thursday evening, probably around 9 o'clock before Web Sleuths, and tomorrow at 5:30 Eastern. And that's kind of going to be my schedule. I'll make a post about it on all my social media platforms so you can see and get better about the notifications. It's a slow process with me, but I'm getting there. And thank you for watching. And